Very good afternoon to one and all present. Today, in the day 6, we are going to take a test called one-way ANOVA, which is the most common test. And if you have referred research papers available on internet, you are going to see that most of the researchers have used this particular test called ANOVA to summarize their research work or of their projects. So as you can see on the slide, ANOVA stands for analysis of variance. Now, what we are going to discuss, we are going to discuss the formula. We are going to discuss how to apply SPSS, ANOVA through SPSS, as well as the manual calculation, along with the significance. So as I have written on the top, the ANOVA we are using mainly to compare more than two means. Whenever we have a 3, 4, 5 or 6 different categories to compare. For example, we have a 5 or 6 different drugs, and we want to know that which drug is better as compared to all 5 or all 6. So you can compare by using this particular test. The ANOVA stands for analysis of variance. Actually, what we are doing, we are comparing mean, and as we can know that the variance will be calculated from the mean. So once what the software is doing exactly, it's comparing the variance of different groups, but showing the result in terms of mean. So final data, what we are going to get, a term called mean difference, that will be available in terms of mean or the standard deviation. Now, this question we have received yesterday, that why we are not going to apply the 2 times or 3 times student t-test, or 1 time student t-test or 2 time independent t-test separately, then we can compare the mean. We cannot do, because it will increase the possibility of making type 1 error. So all the 3 groups we have to run together, or more than 3 groups we have to run together, so that we can compare 3 to 4 different means. To elucidate this example, this particular test, I have taken an example of plasma blood sugar, which is given in the form of number. Data is available in the form of number between 3 different groups of BMI. So data of BMI is given in the form of category. So BMI will be called as a independent variable, and whereas the plasma glucose level in our test will be called as a dependent variable. So what we are doing, we have a 3 different groups of BMI, and we want to find out either the plasma glucose level of the persons having 3 different group of BMI are similar, or there is a difference. This we are trying to find out. So as you know that before we will study the test, we have to go for the hypothesis. Like previous test, we have a 2 different type of hypothesis under one-way ANOVA. Now we want to discuss that why we have called this one as a one-way, and one more test we have that will be called as two-way ANOVA. You can see on the picture where we have a seal, and we want to find out anything about this seal. For example, when we are not bothering that this seal or this seal is a male or female, but we just want to find out that how many seal reach to a particular ocean in month of December or in month of March, or we have another month. So that test will be called as a one-way ANOVA. That means we have a 3 different month: December, we have a January, and we have a February. We have a 4 different month. We have a December, we have a January, we have a February, and we have a March. And that means we have a 4 different groups. And we want to find out that how many seal reaches to a particular beach in the month of December, in month of January, in month of February, or month of March. we are not bothered about the type of the seal, but just we were discussing about number of seals. So this will be test will be called as a one-way ANOVA. When we are bothered about how many seals are males and how many seals are female, then the test will be called as a two-way ANOVA, because we are looking the difference between the two groups. The one group is male and second one is female. So then whenever we have added a factor in the test, and factor here is called gender, then the test will be called two-way ANOVA. And whenever we don't have a factor in the test will be called as a one-way ANOVA. So what the hypothesis of one-way ANOVA says, as you can see that null hypothesis says there is no difference between the groups. That means we have a three different group of BMI. For example, like this, we have, I'll just show you. Yes, the BMI into three different groups. For example, the group number one will be called normal, one will be called normal, second will be called high, and third will be called like obese, based upon the level of the BMI which we have received during the study. So we'll go back, we'll see the null hypothesis. Null hypothesis says that there is no difference between the groups and all groups are similar, and equality between the group. Alternative hypothesis says that there is a difference between the mean and the groups. At least might be two groups are similar, but the third group is different. At least one difference is there. All groups are not similar. At least one difference is there between the groups. Might be, for example, we have a three different group like A, B, and C. Null hypothesis says that A is equal to B, B is equal to C. Alternative hypothesis says it is possible that A and B are similar, but B and C is not similar. Actually, alternative hypothesis says that all are not similar, but there is chances that you can find that two groups are similar, but there is a difference in the third group. And most commonly, whenever we are going to apply this particular test, I'm going to give an example to you. In case of you have three different style of teaching. I used to add a numerical because I have set several statistics uh, papers for final examination. So there I used to add a numerical by quoting a three different style of teaching. That means in a school or in a college, the management want to find out that which method is best for the student. So one method will be considered as online teaching, like we are doing. We are taking a class. Second method is the traditional method, like offline classes. And third method, we have another one like by the use of multimedia, but in the offline classes. So what we will do, we will take a student, 30 students, and we will divide 30 students into the group of 10 10 10, and to 10 students will teach through online platform, 10 students we will teach by traditional method of teaching by offline, and 10 students we will teach by traditional method offline but by using a multimedia. After that, what we will do, we will take a test of all the 30 students, and we will note down the test score of 10 10 students. So one group will be called as 1A, second group will be called as B, and third group will be called as C. So reading of, for example, this is called as student number 1 reading under A, B, C, D, E, F, like this. So 10 10 readings we are going to take in all the three groups. So finally what we are doing, we are comparing the mean of this one A, mean of B, and mean of C. So by comparing the mean, we can find out that which method of teaching is better as compared to another two. This we can find out by applying this particular test called one-way ANOVA. So as we have seen the hypothesis, we can go for the assumptions. Assumptions of ANOVA says what? Normality. For example, we have a plasma glucose level as a dependent variable. So this plasma glucose level should be normally distributed. If we have got this plasma level plasma glucose normally distributed, then only we can say that we are eligible for the ANOVA. Otherwise, we'll go for the alternative of the test called Kruskal-Wallis test. For example, we have got bell-shaped curve for this plasma glucose level. Then we are sure that we can go for ANOVA. If we have not got bell-shaped curve, we have got a skewness in our data, either positive or either negative, then we are not eligible for ANOVA. We have to go for the test called Kruskal-Wallis. Kruskal-Wallis test. Which is the alternative of one-way ANOVA, where you can run more than 2 samples. Now, what is the difference of ANOVA and Kruskal-Wallis? ANOVA, you are going to get result in terms of post hoc test. Now, post hoc test means what? Post hoc test means you are going to compare A with B. You can do the comparison of B with C. You can do the comparison of C with A. Like this, you can make a different sets and you can do the comparison of means. So like this, we have got result in case of post hoc test. You are not going to get in Kruskal-Wallis. Kruskal-Wallis test will give you just one reading called p-value. So with the help of p-value, you want to find out that your test was significant or not significant. How much difference is there in terms of mean or median, you cannot find with the help of Kruskal-Wallis. So most of the researcher want to show their result in terms of more numbers. So what they used to do, they will apply the one-way ANOVA, either their distribution is normal or not normal. So this is lacking whenever anyone who is applying ANOVA for the test, before writing the results of ANOVA, they will not discuss about the normality, which is very important. So normality is the first, that dependent variable should be normally distributed. Sample independence, that means all the 3 sample which you have taken for comparison, that should have the equality. That means there is a test called test for homogeneity, which I have discussed yesterday. So that test will let us know that equality was maintained between 3 groups which you are comparing or not. If equality has been maintained, or data number of sample are equivalent or somehow near to equivalent, then we are going to get a p-value more than 0.05 for test for homogeneity. Like we have seen test for Leibniz in case of independent t-test. In a similar case, we are going to get a result of test for homogeneity, which will let us know that we were eligible for the ANOVA or not. That means either we have given the equal variance in all the 3 groups or not. That means all the atmosphere was similar for all the 3 groups or not. So that we can see. So like I have written here, variance equality we can find out, and that should be same for all the groups, otherwise we cannot apply the test. And dependent variable, for example, if we have weight or we can, any numerical variable can be the dependent variable, and it should be given in the terms of number, and independent variable should be given in the form of category. So all this we are going to see in the next slide. So the difference between one-way ANOVA and two-way ANOVA I have already discussed. Whenever we are going to add a factor, for example, we want to find out that how many these seals reaches to a particular beach in the month of December, January, February, and March. But we want to find out number for male separately and female separately. That means gender we have added as a factor. So test will be called as a two-way ANOVA. Otherwise, it will be considered as one way. So ANOVA tells us about the significant difference between the groups. These are the assumptions, that independent variable should have more than 2 categories. If two categories are there, then we will not go for ANOVA. That independent sample t-test is more sufficient to compare the means. Dependent variable should be in terms of interval or ratio, and dependent variable should be normally distributed. That is the main thing. Now you can see that this is the sign. The ANOVA in statistics will be considered as capital F. Capital F is the sign for the ANOVA, and the formula of ANOVA is MST divided by MSE. So F stands for ANOVA coefficient. MST stands for mean sum of squared due to treatment. Now, what is treatment mean and what is error mean? This we are going to discuss. So MST divided by MSC is the formula for the ANOVA. F is equal to MST divided by MSE. MS stand for mean of sum of squared. Mean of MSS we used to call mean of sum of squared. Now you are going to find two different kind of textbooks in your library. One will be written by international author, some will be written by the national author in India. In India, basically, we are not using these two terms called treatment or error. We are using a different terms. Instead of treatment, we are using within, within, and one more term we have, that is between. Second term will be called as between. So one term, instead of see, both are similar, there is no difference, but writing style is different just. So instead of treatment, they're writing within, and instead of error, they're writing between. Both are same thing. So even you can say that the formula of ANOVA is MSW divided by MSB. It just we have changed these two terms in the last. F is equal to like this. So you are going to find in the books, or you are going to find this. Both are same. There is no difference. Clear? So how to find out this sum of squared? This we have to calculate. To fulfill this equation, we require the two different readings. The first one is mean sum of squared of within or treatment, or mean sum of squared of error or between is the same. So two different sum of squared we require to fill the readings. Now steps. If we want to conduct or we want to do ANOVA numerically, so we have to complete these 7 steps. 7 steps are there which we have to remember for examination point of view. For example, most of the students will get 110% sure they are going to get a numerical to solve in the examination, that compare these 3 different group, try to find out that there is all are similar or there is a difference in the group. So what you are going to do, you are going to get a numerical like this. You're going to get a group A, group B, and group C. 3 different groups will be there, and they'll ask you to find out the difference. They will not give more than 3 to 4 readings. For example, if under each group there is more than 4 or 5 readings, it will take you to calculate the whole NOVA. It will take around 1.5 hours or 2 hours. So what the examiner used to do, they will keep limited number of readings so that numerical can be solved within half an hour or within 45 minutes. Because whenever you are going to do it manually, it will take time to calculate all these 7 steps. So they will be limited to 3 to 4 readings under each group. Because here you can see that in each group we have 3 readings and we have 3 different groups. That means total 9 readings are there. So we'll go back to the readings and we'll see that what are the different steps. In step 1, state your hypothesis. Now, hypothesis for the ANOVA is what? H naught. This is H naught, and this is HA. H naught says that mean of group 1 is equal to mean of group 2, and both mean of group 1 and 2 is similar or equivalent to mean of group 3. And whenever you will put a mark like this, it will be called as alternative hypothesis. And what you want to do, you want to reject the null hypothesis, that all, you want to reject this, that all groups are not similar, there is a difference between the groups. So whenever I will mark this one, I will cross this one, it will become A, HA. Clear? So once you have to state the hypothesis, then second one, calculate the degree of freedom. As I told you in the last class, the degree of freedom for ANOVA is n minus 1 is the formula for ANOVA to calculate the degree of freedom. So once you calculate the degree of freedom, you can come to the step number 3. You have to calculate the sum of squared deviation. So how to calculate the sum of squared deviation, we will find out. After that, you have to calculate the mean sum of squared. And once you have calculated mean sum of squared, you can calculate the F statistics. So F statistics, this will be compared with the sorry, this you have to compare with the value given in the table. So calculated value, the value which we are going to calculate, is compared with a critical value. Critical value. Now what is that critical value? Critical value is called as tabulated value, value which we are going to take from the table. And there is a standard we have to compare, standard we have seen in case of student test or in case of the independent test. Like the same way we will compare the standard. Now you can see I have stated the hypothesis here. Like this, on the same way you have to write in the examination. This is the numerical, that we have a 3 different group, A, B, and C. And under the A, we have a 3 readings, 3, 1, and 2. Under the B, we have a 3 readings, 5, 2, 3. And under the C, we have a reading 2, 1, 3. Reading can be anything. Okay, for example, you have a 3 different drugs to compare, or you are doing a titration, and you have to find out the and comparison of 3 different molecules. So 3 different readings can be taken like this. So each group reading you are going to enter in each column. Like this, you are going to fill a data in SPSS in the same way. So how we have proceeded, you can see like this. You have to write in the examination that H naught, mean of group 1 is equal to mean of group 2 is equal to mean of group 3. That means all group are same. There is no difference between the group. Will be used to call non-significant. And what we have to do, we have to reject the null hypothesis, this one, first one. We have to prove this one, that all groups are not same and there is at least one difference. See, when alternative hypothesis will become true, automatically it has been proven that you have rejected the null hypothesis. So our result will be significant when we say that our alternative hypothesis is true. But in research, we will never write that our alternative hypothesis is true. We'll discuss about the null hypothesis, that null hypothesis was rejected or null hypothesis was not rejected. Clear? So step 1 we have completed. We'll just state our hypothesis. We'll write whatever the groups given by the examiner, group A and B, A, B, and C. We'll say that all groups are similar as per null hypothesis, and as per alternative hypothesis, that there is a difference in the group, at least one difference is there. In step 2, we have to calculate the degree of freedom. So as you can see, for overall ANOVA, the formula is n minus 1, but we have to calculate separately for between, for within, and one more term is called total. So whatever the reading you are calculating in ANOVA, you have to calculate 3 times for each, between separately, within separately, and for total separately. For all the 3 terms, you have to calculate all the things separately. For example, you are calculating sum of squared, or you are calculating mean square, mean sum of squared. So mean sum of squared you have to calculate separately for between, separately for within, and separately for the total. And same way, this between, within, and total separately you have to calculate for the sum of squared. So you can see here that these are the formulas to calculate the degree of freedom. For example, degree of freedom, if you want to calculate for between, it is k minus 1. And degree of freedom, if you want to calculate for within, it is n minus k. Now, what is k and what is n here? K means how many groups are there. We know that we have a three groups. And how many readings are there? Total n. Total readings are 9. So 9 will be considered as n. So this is our 9. 9 means it's our n, capital N, and this is our k. K is the group. How many number of groups are there? So like we have a B, C, 3 groups. So we'll consider k as a 3 groups. And if you want to calculate the degree of freedom total, so by taking the value of within and between, you can do the sum of both. You are going to get a number. So here you can find out that k is the number of groups and n is the number of observation, that these are 9s and groups are 3. We have done a calculation. Degree of freedom, this is the calculation. With this formula we have applied, and for total we have applied this formula, and we have got a degree of freedom between as 2, degree of within as 6, and degree of freedom total as 8. Now, degree of freedom between and degree of freedom within will act as a numerator and denominator. What is that? This we'll discuss in next slide. What do you mean by denominator and what do you mean by numerator? This we'll see in the next slide. See, whenever we are referring a table of ANOVA, so we need the value of numerator and denominator to use the F table, F distribution table. So as we have calculated the degree of freedom here 2 and degree of freedom within 6, which will be taken as numerator and denominator, I will take you to the table, and from there we will try to find out the tabulated value. And most of the time this tabulated value will be given by the examiner in the question paper. Now this is the F table, and you can see on the top we have a value for the numerator on the top and denominator on the left hand side. And we can know that for our test, numerator was found 2 and denominator was found 6. So we'll go for our value, that numerator is 2 and denominator is 6, and alpha level of the test is 0.05. Alpha level of the test is 0.05. That has written by the examiner, that alpha level is how much. So we'll see for this value 0.05, and we'll see how much value we have got. We have got here 5.14. So this will be called as a tabulated value, or the critical value with which one we have to compare our F score, which we are going to calculate. So most of the time this table is not provided by the examiner. What they used to do, they used to find this critical value or tabulated value earlier, and they used to write with the name of test value or critical value or the tabulated value. Different terms are there. Examiner can use any one of them, either test value, either tabulated value, either critical value for the test 5.14. So the F score which we are going to calculate, we don't know how much it is right now. We have to compare with this to make the final decision. So what we did, we have got this 5.14 from the table at the alpha level of 0.05. Now here actually numerical start from step number 4. See, whenever the examiner is giving a numerical of ANOVA, the ANOVA numerical having a 7 different steps. So till how many steps you have done correctly, examiner is going to give you the marks according to that. For example, if ANOVA numerical stands for 10 marks and you have completed your numerical till here or till step number 4, it is going to give you half marks. That means you have calculated numerator and denominator, you are going to get a 5 marks for your numerical. And if you calculate this one, sum of square deviation, obviously 2 marks it is going to add, and after that you are going to calculate the SS, then again 2 marks he is going to add in your sheet. And if you calculate the F score, 10 out of 10 you are going to get. That is the way of marking style in the statistics. So you can see that step number 4, what we have to do, we have to calculate the sum of square deviation, and formula for sum of square deviation is this. I'll write the formula so that you are able to understand. X bar is equal to sum of xi. Xi is the individual value divided by n. Clear? So for that, what we have to do, we have to calculate the mean of each group. Before we'll proceed, we have to calculate the mean. So mean of this was found to be 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 divided by 3, we are going to get 2. The mean of this 5, 5, 10 divided by 3, we are going to get a 3.33. 3, 4, 5, 6. Again, we have got the mean 2. So these are the means 2, 3.33 and 2. Same I have written here, 2, 3.3 and 2. That is the mean of group A, mean of group B, and mean of group C. You have calculated, and once you will calculate the mean of all the 3 groups, you have to calculate the grand mean. Grand mean means grand mean of all the 9 readings. So what you will do, the mean which you have calculated at A, B or C, you are going to divide by 3, you are going to get a grand mean. Clear? So once grand mean has been calculated, you can go for the step number 4 exactly. Now here, look exactly, you don't have to bother that so much big calculations are there. There is some sort of techniques which you have to use. If you remember that, you are going to do the numerical. Now see how sum of squared has been calculated. Formula is, for total you have to calculate separately, for within you have to calculate separately, and for between you have to calculate separately, and each one is given with a particular formula. A separate formula is there for everything. So this formula you have to remember whenever if you want to do numerical by your own. Now you can see that SS total, if you want to calculate, the formula is sum of all divided by x minus grand mean. Grand mean we have calculated in the last step, which was found 2.44. So in this step, what you did 3 minus 2.44, that 1 minus 2.44, then 2 minus 2.44. Each value you have to reduce from the 2.44, and whatever you have got, you have to do the square of that. Here you can see on the slide, this 3 is this one, this one is this one, this 2 is this one, that each value has been reduced from 2.44, which was the grand mean, and whatever the answer you have got, you have done the square of that, clear. So like this, if you have a 3 different groups, then you can see this line we have done for A, this line we have done for B, and this line we have done for C. 3 times you have to do, because we have a 3 different groups. Because you want to see 5, where is this 5? 5 is this one. And where is this 3? This 3 is this one. Clear? So like this, whenever you will do the squared of each, you are going to get a SS total. So what you have to remember here, each value you have to reduce from something, and after that you have to do the square of deviation. So which value is that? You have to remember the grand mean, that whenever you are calculating total, you have to reduce the each value from the GM, grand mean. And from whenever you are going to calculate, then you have to reduce from the individual mean. That means whenever you are calculating for A, you have to reduce from 2, and when you are calculating for B, you have to reduce from 3.33, and whenever you are calculating for C, you have to calculate from again 2, because mean of this is 2. So this is the individual mean, this one, 3.33, 2, 2, and 2. The formula is the same, and you are going to get a SS within. So once you have a value of SS total and SS within, you can use both, that 12.22 and 8.6, you are going to get a value for between. This is 3.3. So this is the only slide where a student will take most of the time for the calculation, because to calculate the degree of freedom, to calculate the mean, you are not going to take any time. Maximum time will be devoted in ANOVA to calculate the SS total and SS within, sum of squared of total and sum of squared of within. So here student used to do the mistake. Here what you have to do, just remember one thing, that first you have to use a GM, and after that you have to use a IM, grand mean, then individual mean. If you remember this, then everything will be sorted out. Clear? So once you have calculated the SS, now you can calculate the mean sum of squared. And formula for mean sum of squared is this one. Here you don't have to do the calculation. You have to follow the formulas, which is already things which I have already calculated. For example, MS you have to calculate for between, for within, because the formula for F is what? F divided by MSW divided by MSB. So these two value you have to calculate, and you are going to get here MSB and MSW. So how to calculate? SS between you have calculated earlier in the previous slide, and degree of freedom between you have calculated earlier. So we'll just use the reading, that 3.55 divided by 2, we are going to get a reading for MS between. So MS between was found this much, 1.77. And if we want to calculate the MS within, so SS within we have calculated in the previous slide, that was 8.67, and degree of freedom within we have calculated in previous slide, when we have calculated degree of freedom 1.44, and sorry 6, it was 6. So we can calculate and we will get the MS within these two value, and by using the divide, we will do F divided by MS between and MS within, we are going to get a final F score. So this is the F score which we have calculated, and here we have done the calculation, that F is equal to MSB divided by MSW, 1.77 divided by 1.44, we have got 1.23. So this 1.23 we are going to compare with the 5.14. I'll just check it out. The same, it is same value. Yeah, 5.14. This is the tabulated value which we have taken from the table. So this 5.14 we will compare. Now what the rule says, 5.14 rule says, if calculated f value is less than the critical or tabulated value, we reject the null hypothesis. If calculated value is less than the critical value, and we can found here that our calculated value is less than the tabulated value. This is less as compared to 5.14. It means we have rejected the null hypothesis, and we have proven that all groups are not similar. There is a difference between the group, and by seeing the mean you can understand that the mean of group 1 was found 2, and mean of C was again 2, but mean of 3 was 3.33. So because of this 3.33, we were able to prove that there's a difference. There is difference between the groups. A and C were somehow similar, but there's a difference between the A and B and C. At least one difference was there. That's why test was found significant, and we were able to reject the null hypothesis. And whenever our critical tabulated value, this one, our calculated value is less than the table value, it means our p value is less than 0.05. So it is not necessary that ANOVA table, that f critical table is only this much. Actually this table is having around 20 pages, because it is not necessary that you will get a numerator till 9 or denominator till 7. You will get a numerator till 100 also, and even you can get the denominator till 100. So that will be given in page number 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So I have just taken a screenshot where my numerator and denominator were falling in page number 1. So based upon the value given in the examination, you have to refer the exact table, because f critical table you are going to get in the Google. If you will type on the Google that f critical table, you are going to get a PDF of this table, and you can see that more than 20 pages are there. So this is the way that how we are going to do the numerical of one-way ANOVA. And before I'll proceed with the SPSS, I want to take the queries that if you have any doubt in the calculation, you can ask me. So I'll just take the, I'll switch the window and I'll see the chat box. Sir, you says F male or female in glucose in hypothesis at the same time, it is significant we have to reject the hypothesis. I think we have to accept the null hypothesis, both gender glucose. No, 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 no. Question number 1. Question number 2 regarding my PhD thesis. Question number 3, can I send some data to explain how to write in the sheet? Can choose the correct test in the class? Yes, Revin, I'm going to answer. As you can see on the slide, which is I have shown on the screen, just don't see the mu3. Just go for the mu1 and mu2. That means mean of group 1 is equivalent to mean of group 2. That means both group are same. When you will say both group are same, there is no difference between the group. That time you'll say the test was found not significant. That means your aim, see, whenever you are going to apply a statistical test, what you have to do, your aim is to reject the null hypothesis. And in which case you have rejected the null hypothesis, when you will find that both group are having a different mean, and there is a larger number of value in the mean difference. The higher the value of mean difference, the the maximum chances for your test to be significant. So always the null hypothesis says that all groups are same, or there is no difference in the groups, whereas the alternative hypothesis says that at least there is a difference. If two groups are there, then you will say okay, there is a difference. If there is a more than two groups, then you have to say in such a way that at least there is a one difference between the groups. Might be group A and C are similar, but there is a difference between A and B and B and C. And regarding question number 2, as I told you that as I'll finish my defense, I am going to give my PhD thesis, no issue. You are going to get from the Shodh Ganga also. And obviously you can send your data during the class and we can discuss that which test is best suited to your data. So I think if any person is having a query for the numerical, they can ask. And I just want to repeat again, sir, in the test calculated value is greater than the table value, then we are rejecting null hypothesis. Then why in ANOVA opposite case? See, for the each statistical test, because of different tables, because we are not using the same table, these table made by the person, those who are invented the test. So for each table standards are different, because we have not made the standard, just we have read it, we have read in the book. And it, whenever you are going to refer the table, so on the top of the table or at the bottom of the table, they have written the standard that how to use the table. Because for t distribution we are using a t table, and for ANOVA we are using a f table. So both the table are made by different authors. Clear? So authors have set the standards for their test is different. There is no correlation between, in that test we were referring less value, and for ANOVA we are referring higher value. That is difference for both the case. There is no logic in between that in previous test we did so and so, why we are not following the same. We have to refer the standard given by the particular table who has invented. Because in our that t distribution table is having around 2 or 3 different pages. ANOVA table lies and having around 20 pages, so different values will be there, like a log table only. So whatever the standard is made by the persons, we have to refer the same. There is no logic in between. I'll just show you the calculation where as per my personal experience, where the students are doing the mistake. In this slide, maximum time will be taken by the participant to answer. And just remember this thing, when you are calculating for total, then reduce from grand mean. And always remember, then first you have to calculate the total, then you have to calculate the within. And for total, either you can remember in such a way that first of all in a day you will say good morning. So I used to call grand mean. The day start with good morning, so always reduce from the grand mean, like I used to remember. Clear? And after that you will say IM. You will say morning, good morning, whatever, to individual person in your office. Then it will be the each value, that xi will be reduced from the IM, that is from the individual mean. So what the student used to do, they used to keep this value here and they used to keep this value here. This is the most common mistake, so try to avoid. Just remember that total you have to reduce from the grand mean, and whenever you are calculating the within, as you have a value in, how I have remembered that within we have a value called in. This I used to correlate with this I. So I used to remember within contain in. So with that I, individual mean I have to reduce the each value, and GM I start with a good morning, something like that. So these two techniques you can also use to remember. And here you don't have to do the plus, here you have to do the minus. and minus, obviously you are going to reduce from the total. So once you will do all these steps, this one, then you don't have nothing to calculate the ms, that is mst or msw. So you are going to get a value. So the most important thing which that was the for the examination point of view, that we have thought how we are going to do the numerical of one way ANOVA. There are some other techniques also which is available on the internet. For example, you'll go to YouTube and you'll see that what is the shortcut method for ANOVA. So you don't have to follow all these 7 steps. Whatever the 7 step I have recommended, the numerical can be finished in 4 steps only. So you can also look for that. But what I recommend, because examiner used to give a marking based upon the step marking. So for student point of view, I'll ask you to go for these 7 steps, so that whenever you reach to step number 4 and after that you are not able to do the numerical because of less time or because of you have done error during the numerical, so at least you are going to gain a half mark or 60% marks. But that is not possible in that case, the shortcut method of ANOVA. So we'll do through SPSS, which is the most required, because nowadays we are not doing the manual calculation directly. All the data which we are getting in our research, we are going to feed in a software, and then we are going to do. Now, as I have started the test, as I have discussed, that we are going to calculate the plasma glucose level, which is given in the form of number with the 3 different category of BMI. BMI is having a 3 different category. So BMI was the categorical variable, and plasma glucose level is the numeric variable whose data was found to be normally distributed. Clear? But it is not necessary that data of BMI is always available in the form of categorical order. Data of BMI, how you are going to get? You are going to get 26.7. If you want to write the BMI of any person, you are going to write like 21.3, 20.6, something like. So in that case, what has happened? The data of BMI is available in the form of number, and data of plasma glucose is also available in the form of number. So in that case, you're not eligible for the ANOVA. So what to do? You have to customize your variable through a process called visual binding. This is the step called visual binding in the SPSS, by which mean you are able to transform numerical data into a categorical data. Because you have thought, otherwise you have to use the test called linear regression for both numerical variable. When independent variable is numerical and dependent variable is numerical, then the test will be considered as linear regression or logistic regression based upon the distribution of your data. But if you thought that you have to apply the ANOVA because other person whose paper you are referring, he has applied the ANOVA, then you can also apply the ANOVA, but you have to do the modifications in your data. How? You are going to make a 3 different groups of BMI. For example, one group will be called normal, second is overweight, and third is obese. Based upon what? Based upon the values which you have got. If any person who is having BMI less than 23 will be considered as normal, up to 18. For example, 18 to 23 will be considered as normal. Then second group, 23.1 to 27.5 will be considered as overweight, and from 27.5 to you are going to give a higher value. So when you don't know that what was the higher value, you can add from your side, for example 50, that you are not going to get any value, any person having a BMI more than 50. So all will included in that, under that range, under group 3. So based upon these ranges you have to make your own self. And in my project also I have got these ranges, so I have not made myself. I have referred the guidelines of WHO, and WHO has given the guidelines that uh, person having the value of BMI will be called as what? Based upon the value. So a particular table was referred, given by WHO, and based upon that I have taken these value, that below 23, 23 to 27, 27.5 to maximum value, like this. So if you have any standard guidelines to make a different ranges, so you have to refer the guidelines and you have to quote the reference of the same in your thesis or in your research article. For example, you are working on hypertension and you want to make the ranges of stage 1, stage 2, stage 3 hypertension. So directly you cannot make the ranges of systolic blood pressure from your side. You have to refer the JNC guidelines. 6 you can refer, 7 you can refer, 8 you can refer. But guidelines given for systolic and guidelines given for diastolic, you have to refer that 80 to 89, then 90 to 110, something over different ranges were mentioned by some agencies. So those guidelines will refer. Otherwise, if there is no guidelines, then you can make your own, and you have an opportunity to give your name to that particular guidelines. Clear? So how the process of visual binding will be conducted in SPSS to transform your data from numerical data into a categorical data. So these are the steps. So I'll not read all these things. I'll just show you in the slides. That for that you have to go to transform and go to a option called visual binding. So transform is the command for visual binding, and you have to go option called visual binding, and this is the visual binding window. And here you can see you are going to get only numeric variable. Here in the list you are not going to get any categorical variable, because categorical you cannot convert. So only numerical variable will be here. And as you know that I have to change the numerical data of BMI into categorical. So what I did, I take BMI from this side to this side. Clear? And I'll click OK. So once I click OK, this is the visual binding window. And here you have to add something, that what will be the name of new variable. So minimum value which you have received in your project, that you have to enter. That in my project the minimum value was 18.6 and maximum value in my project was 30.01. So minimum or maximum you can add, and SPSS is going to make a new column for the data which is given in the form of category. So what will be the name of that variable? So that will be mentioned here. For example, I have written BMI bind. That bind word I have taken from this one only, from binding. So that you can add here, that what will be the name of bind variable you can add here. Clear? So once you will add the minimum and maximum, the software is going to show you this graph like this. So by seeing the graph, you can see that most of the patient are lying, and you are getting somehow bell-shaped curve. And you can see that most of the patient are lying between here 25 to this range 28. This is the range where maximum patient are lying under this range. Clear? So this is the group where you can make the group. So you have to click here on the value. So you can give the name, and here you can add the value. For example, here the software will show writing option for group 1 and group 2. As you will add group 2, you are going to get a option for the group 3. What you have to do, you have to enter the values, the highest value. That highest value for the first group will be, see, 18.6 will be considered as minimum. This 18.6 will be considered as minimum to 23, and this will be called as normal. So this normal you have to type yourself here. Clear? And from 23 to 27 will be called as second, and group will be named as overweight, and third value will be called high, and high you have already written, because 27.5 you have already entered here. So and high you have given, so you software will write high itself. It will be considered from see last category 3 or category 3 ranges will be considered by the software I will let you know how. From these two values, 27.5 and 30.1. By taking the ranges of these two, the software is going to make the value for the 3. Or if you want to write, you can write in such a way like 18.6, then you have to add dash here between 27. So in such a way also you can write. So both method are accepted. Like this you have to make a different ranges and click OK. And here it is showing the maximum cases, that how many cases are there in the sheet, and that is 150. So this is the method that row 1 enter 23 in the value, then normal as the label will be given, then 27.5 and overweight. See, so this normal, overweight and obese you have to type yourself, that what names you want to keep for which group. And as you will click OK, this is the sheet. You are going to get this error that binding specification will create new variable. You want to say yes. If you not say yes, then what will happen? The data of BMI, which is given in the form of numeric, that will be omitted by the software and it will be replaced by the categorical. So you are going to lose the data which is given in terms of number, and you will have a categorical variable. So don't do that. Just click OK here, because you want to create a new variable. And you can see that serial number 8 is the previous BMI where the data has been entered in terms of numeric order. But software has created a variable serial number 14 where name I have written BMI stat, because this BMI stat name I have entered here, this one, BMI stat. So name of the variable was given of the software BMI stat, and you can see here where I will mark that we have a categories. So only one category is visible, that we have a one value 1 called normal, value 2 for overweight, and 3 for obese. So software has automatically done the reading, 1 for normal, 2 for overweight, and 3 for obese, like this. Clear? So whenever you have a now categorical variable, you are ready for the ANOVA, because independent variable now is available in the form of category as a new variable BMI stat. So you are not going to use the BMI which is given on the serial number 8. You are going to use a BMI for the test which is given on the serial number 14 at the bottom. So this is the step of ANOVA. So if you want to take screenshot, you can take, or I'll directly show you in the SPSS software that how to do. Go to analyze, go to compare mean, and you can click on the test called one-way ANOVA. So compare mean is the command for all the parametric tests. And as we have done in the last classes, one sample t-test is used for one sample. When you don't have independent variable, you have only dependent variable. Independent sample t-test is used for two sample. And when you have a more than two sample, 3, 4, 5, 6, like this to compare, then you're going for the test called one-way ANOVA. This paired sample t-test will do tomorrow, and I will let you know that for that what purpose, in what assumptions we are going to use this particular test. So all these one sample t-test, independent sample t-test, and ANOVA are called unpaired, because the data of A does not have any correlationship with data of B. These all are unpaired tests. So once you click on one-way ANOVA, you are going to get a variables which you have made for your project on this side. And what you have to do, you have to move the glucose as a dependent list, dependent variable. And you can see that which variable I have moved. I have moved a BMI stat, and you can see the icon of ordinal, that BMI which is given in the form of number will remain at the back end. I have not used that one. So once you will move the variable, you have to go to the option called option, and in option you have to choose descriptive that you need the descriptive statistics, you need the homogeneity of variance test to find out that you were eligible for the test or not. You can click plot also. As I have not clicked on plot, so we are not going to get plot, but when I will show you in the SPSS, that time we will click on the plot. So these are necessary, otherwise the software is not going to generate a table for you. So if, for example, if you not click on this one, so you're not going to get the descriptive statistics. And if you will not click on homogeneity, you're not going to get a test called reading for homogeneity, which let you know that your data was homogeneous or not, that that you have kept equal variance for all the groups or not. And after that you have to go to the post hoc. So by going to the option, you can choose all these things. After that, you have to go to the post hoc. And post hoc, different scientists was there who have invented the test. The most common was Tukey and Dunet. So by referring which scientist you want to proceed the ANOVA, the most common is by the readings of Tukey. So as I have clicked on Tukey, so you can click on this or you can click on the Dunet. It's your wish. But whenever you are writing the results of your thesis or your research project, there you have to write that post hoc test by 2KB or post hoc test by Dunet, that with whose equation you are going to follow the test, you have applied the test. So this you have to remember. Most common option will be chosen by academician is the 2K, this one. And just check that what is the significance level for the test cutoff point. So by default, the software is going to take this one as a 0.05. So it will remain same. If you want to change, you can change as per the need of your study. Clear? And just click OK. You are going to get the results. So as we have clicked here, option called descriptive, this one, descriptive, we have received this table. Otherwise, we are not going to get this table. So ANOVA contains, as you can see, 3 to 4 different tables, 1, 2, and 3, and 4. So what these 4 table representing and how much data you should take from this table to your thesis or to your research paper, this we are going to see in today's class. This is the output sheet of SPSS, which we have applied, and you can see that we have a data of the name you are going to get at starting, data of glucose, plasma glucose level between 3 different groups of BMI: normal, overweight, and obese. So you are going to find that how many patients are having a what BMI level. That 17 patient is having a normal BMI, 95 is having a overweight, and 38 patient were following having BMI more than 27.5. So under the category of obese. And you can find out the mean and the standard deviation. We don't require all this. So till here we are going to add in the thesis n numbers, mean, and the standard deviation. So whenever any person, for example, you are referring a research paper and that author have quoted their result in terms of mean and standard deviation, you can assume that he have applied a one-way ANOVA, not the Kruskal-Wallis. If he has written the value of median and interquartile range, you can assume he has applied the non-parametric test. When 3 groups are there or more than 2 groups are there, then the obviously test is Kruskal-Wallis test. So from first table, we have to take the descriptive statistics of all the 3 groups. So data of plasma glucose level we are getting. Second table is called post hoc table or multiple comparison table. Here comparison of what? Like we have A, B, and C group. So A is compared with B is compared with C, and C is compared with A. Like this comparison we are going to get. So from this table, what we are going to take, the data of glucose we have, which was a dependent variable. So normal group was compared with two groups, overweight and obese. In the same way, the overweight was again compared with normal and obese was compared with normal and overweight. So you can see that value will be repeating because this group normal and overweight, and here again we have a overweight and normal. So reading for this group you are going to find similar, and even p value you are going to get similar. So no need to see again and again, just three different values you have to find out. We have to see. So what we are trying to find out, that what is the significant value. So significant value here, it is the post hoc significant value, not the significant value of the overall test ANOVA. So here what we have to see, that which value is less than 0.05, and we can see that this is the value, this is the value, this is the value, and this is the value. These four values are less than 0.05. So these group will be considered as significant. Otherwise, remaining groups will not. For example, this group will not consider as significant. Which group? That normal and overweight. But this group, overweight and obese, will be considered as significant. So we have to write in our thesis that out of three groups, which group was found significant or not. What you can do, you can remove last two columns, 95% of confidence interval, and you can add the whole table in your thesis by quoting p-value from here till here. And you can see the mean difference, that how much difference is there between A and B, or B or C, or C and A, that you can quote either in plus or minus. Clear? Third table is test for homogeneity. Now what it's representing, this table is going to show you that you were eligible for the test or not. And as I have discussed with you, that in statistics we have a three different tests in which we will see p-value more than 0.05 as a standard. So first test was test for normality distribution. Second test was test for Leibniz. And this is the third test and the last test in the statistics, in which we will take p-value as a 0.05 more than for significant. And here you can see that we have got a very high p-value, more than 0.05. We got 0.29. So it was more than 0.05, and we can assume that we are eligible for the test, that equality was maintained between all the three groups. Now why I can say that equality was maintained between all the three groups? Because all the three groups are having somehow some patients, not exactly, but in one group we have got 17, in one group we got 95, and in one group we have 38. So this number are sufficient to compare. For example, if we have got only two in normal or one in normal, that time we are not going to get this value. This value will be less than 0.05, and we will say that we are not eligible for the test because homogeneity of variance test was found not significant. Equality was not maintained. The sufficient number of patient under each group are not there to compare. Clear? So when this value is more than 0.05, you are sure that you are eligible and you can proceed for the ANOVA. And this is the main ANOVA table. Like, you are going to get all those value which we have calculated in the manual calculation. In manual calculation, we have calculated f, so we got the value of f. We have calculated the mean square, ms, we got the value of ms. We have calculated the degree of freedom, we got degree of freedom. We have calculated ss, sum of squared, and we have got the value of sum of squared here. And as we have calculated three times, for between, within, and total. And same here we are getting value for between, within, and total. So for all the three, between, within, and total, all the three values are there. So you can see that final ANOVA table, we are getting all those value which we have done in the manual calculation. Now from this one, what we have to see, we are not bothered here for the f value because we don't have any value to compare. Directly we look for the significant value. If significant value is less than 0.05, we can assume that we have rejected the null hypothesis and there is a difference between the groups. All three groups are not similar. That means plasma glucose level of three different BMI groups are not similar. As the BMI changes, the plasma glucose level of the patient also changes. So how to write the results? These are the writing style that in first line you can write about the descriptive statistics, that mean glucose level for normal and overweight were about same. So when you have received the same value for two groups, you can write in such a way that same value we have received in group A and group B, and we have got a higher value, we have got a very lower value in group C. Whatever is the writing style you can adopt, because how much you can write in a different style, you are going to get your thesis not plagiarized. If you are writing the same style as I have written, or other author has written, then whenever you are going to submit your thesis or research paper, there is a chances for the plagiarism. So writing style for result should be unique. So just use your personal things, that how you are going to make your results unique. But the writing style for a test will be similar. You cannot make any changes under this one. For example, you can write the difference was found significant, and this is the writing style of ANOVA. You have to write F in the bracket, then degree of freedom you have to write, and these two I have taken from this table 2, then comma 147. So these two value you have to take, the 2 and 147. These two value you have to take, 2 and 147, and this value you are going to quote, and this value you are going to quote in the final calculation. So for example, if you are writing for the research paper, so writing for the research paper, you don't have to add all the tables. So by just writing two lines, this is the first line and this is the second line, is more than sufficient. And about the test for homogeneity, you can write one line, that, and here you can write that which group was found significant or not significant by giving the result of post hoc test. I'm going to show you in my thesis where I have applied ANOVA and how I have written the results. So this is the way that how we are going to do. So this example I am going to take tomorrow. That then this is the calculation for the two-way ANOVA, and not recommended by the statistician, because we are not using two-way ANOVA in most of the cases. We have a much better alternative test as compared to two-way. But if anyone want to know that for how we are going to perform the two-way ANOVA, and which are the different formulas required to calculate the two ANOVA. So for that we have to refer this particular slide. This I'll explain in the further classes. I will switch to the SPSS. So for that I have to close the presentation, so that I will take you to the live demo of SPSS software and will apply test for ANOVA. For that I have to stop the presentation. Now I'll take the queries. Sir, how to get p-value for these three means in ANOVA? See, for manual calculation, we are not going to get a p-value. The software is providing the post hoc. In manual calculation, we are going to get only F score. So by seeking the F score, we have to compare our F score with the critical value or tabulated value. And as the standard says that if our score is less than the standard value, we have rejected the null hypothesis. That we have to follow. For manual calculation, we are not going to get separate like A is compared with B, B is compared with C, and C is compared with A. For that, we are not going to get p-value, but obviously we are going to get a mean difference. So mean difference can be quoted. So, sir, if homogeneity is not maintained, then we have to apply Kruskal-Wallis test. Yes, if we are not getting in the homogeneity directly, we are not proceeding with the homogeneity. What we will do, we will try to increase the number of sample in the group where number of patients are less. For example, in one group you have got 9, in second group you have 35, in third group you have 55. So what you will do, you will try to include the patient in which patients are less. So as you will increase the sample size, the distribution will remain somehow normal. You're already getting a bell-shaped curve. So still you can go for ANOVA, but by increasing the number of sample in the group where patient was not sufficient. As the test for homogeneity value crosses 0.05, there you have to stop. So no need to take further patient. That means whatever the number of patient you have taken, that is sufficient to conclude something. So what I'll do, I'll share my SPSS sheet so that you can see. Just give me a minute. Yes, it's visible. Just drop a message in the chat box that screen is visible to you. Yes, thank you so much. So I'll show you that how to do. Go to analyze, go to compare mean, go to one way ANOVA. It's visible. Let me check. In my system, it's not visible. Will we wait for 2 or 3 seconds? Or let me see, it's not visible like this. I have to share my whole screen. Then only it will be visible to you guys. My entire screen should be visible, because it will take pop-up of a specific window otherwise. Now I think it's visible. Yes. So I have to look that in which variable I have more than 2 categories. For that one only we'll apply the test. See, the data of BMI, first you are going to get like this. That data of BMI you have entered in such like this. So what you have to do, you have to customize the variable by going into transform and visual binding. As you go to visual binding, you can take the variable like BMI of the patient, click continue like this. We have got here, you can got, and here you can type. See, here you can type the values. For example, 18 will be considered as normal. See, already software has detected that what was the minimum 17.70 and maximum 46.30. So instead of this one, I have to take the value. For example, I can write 23. So from where it will consider 17.70 to 23. Clear? And here I can write 27 will be called overweight. Clear? And here, if I'll remain high, keep high, it will consider as high from 27 to 46.30. If you want to keep like this, you can keep, and 3 group will be made, no issue, because minimum and maximum will be considered 17.70 and 46.30. And bin variable name will be BMI stat like this. and you have to click OK. I don't want to disturb the sheet, otherwise it will make new variable. So just you have to click OK and again OK. So new variable will be created by the software. Okay. So I will discard the changes. I don't want to add any variable in the sheet because this I have to use for my PhD purpose, also for other publications. I will let you know how to now apply ANOVA. Go to compare mean, go to one way ANOVA, and as you know that any numerical variable can be the will not apply BMI, will apply something else, where we have 4 or 5 or 6 categories. We'll take for example the cholesterol level as a dependent variable, and you can see these all are the categorical variable. We can take occupation of the patient, because under occupation I have multiple categories. We can take employment status, we can take calorie status, that how much calorie the patient is taking. But before I'll proceed to calorie, I have to check that how many categories are there. If categories are only two, then we cannot apply the test. Category should be more than two, or we can go for family history, any variable having category more than two. So okay, employment status will proceed, no issue. Clear. We'll go to post hoc, we'll go for 2K, continue. We'll go to option, descriptive, homogeneity, plot also we want to draw. Click OK, and yes, now results are visible to you. Let me check. Why sheet is not visible? First I'll end the presentation. See, I have to learn that how to get the output sheet. Yesterday also was getting the same problem. Software have generated, see, it's in output viewer, but when I'll click, it will not come. Here, no. Second window we don't have. I don't want to apply the test again. We'll get it like this only. Just wait. I don't want to put. You can save also. I will show that. Just wait. It has been closed. I have to open again. Just wait. See, meanwhile, I'll show you that how I have written the test in the thesis, that I have compared fasting blood sugar of the patient during admission with the plasma glucose level. Fasting blood sugar of the patient during admission. So first I have written the descriptive statistics, how many patient was there under which test. See, so this was the category. The first category was 231 to 260, then 261 to 290, and more than 290. So these were the number of patient, and this is the percentage. So first what I did, I have applied one sample retest to compare my mean of fasting blood sugar with some other persons by Kannan et al. 2011, and this is the reading of one sample retest, and this is the test value with I have compared, and the difference of both the study I have found 56.90, and my p-value was 0.001. So once I have given the descriptive statistics of fasting blood sugar, and I have compared my fasting blood sugar with the other person's study, then after that I came to relationship of fasting blood sugar with the BMI in my study. Now I am doing the comparison of my variable in my study with the variable inside my study. So about the BMI, I have already given on the top that how many categories are there. So what I did first, I have made a graph of fasting blood sugar of the patient at admission with BMI of the patient. Clear? And this is the simple scattered plot. Why we have called scattered? Because each dot is a individual patient, and we can see that we have got a positive correlation. That means as BMI is increasing, the fasting blood sugar of the patient is also increasing. So to make a scattered plot, the data of BMI which I have used, which is given in the form of number, we cannot use the category of BMI which we have made afterwards. So both the variable will be used in the research, where you have entered the data in terms of number, as well as you have entered the data for, you have bind the data in terms of category. So category where I have used here, you can see that the fasting blood sugar of the patient and three different category, and this is a clustered box plot. See, whenever you are writing the result, name of the graph should be written at the starting. You cannot write a graph has been plotted. So in SPSS, whenever you are going to make a plot, so with the movement of mouse, the software is going to guide you that which plot you have plotted. So the name of the plot you have to write it down, and whenever you are writing your thesis, that time you have to write the exact name. For example, here I have written clustered box plot, and on the top I have written simple scattered plot. So these are the name of the plot which we have to write directly. We cannot write a graph has been plotted. Clear? So here you can see that comparison of three different group of BMI between male and female, and top is the maximum value, the lowest point is the lowest value, and in center we have a mean. So where the mean is going to deviate somewhere here in this category. Clear? And to make this plot, I have applied one way ANOVA. So how to write the result of one way ANOVA? This is the writing style. You can write once that one way ANOVA analysis of variance was performed to compare the mean of fasting blood sugar in different category of BMI. So this is the introduction of the test. That one way ANOVA was applied to compare the mean of fasting blood sugar in different category of BMI. Now you can discuss here the descriptive statistics which we have got in the first table, that fasting blood sugar of person having normal weight, how much it is under the overweight, how much is the mean and SD, and never forget to write the unit whenever you are writing a mean and standard deviation. And you are going to get a standard deviation in 4 decimal, for example, like this. So you have to delete all, just keep the any mean or any value after 2 decimal. So writing 4 digit after decimal is not recommended. Clear? So as you can see, I was having a 4 different category, but in graph I have received only 3, because in fourth category only few patient was there, so I have not included in the graph. But why? Because in underweight I was having only 3 patients, so here I have not got the underweight. It was there and it was not showing anything, it was not meaning anything. So what I did, I have removed the that particular category from the graph. So this was the first category, mean and standard deviation. Second category, see, when I have written the result, I have written the name as well as the ranges, both should be written, and this should be something superscript on the top on the top. See, this I have already done, but as I have changed the laptop from the Windows version to Mac version, all those things formatting has gone. So like this you have to follow, and you can see that I have added the standard error but not required that much. And whole table, I have not made a table, and the look which you are seeing right now, this will be called as a academic style or APA format of the table. You are not having a uh, rows and the columns lines, just line, bottom line and top line of the title, and bottom and top line of the bottom will be there. Remaining all the lines, for example, we are not having a separate line for the data which is given at the center here. Lines for column and lines of row will be not there. So any table which you are going to see in my thesis, that will be APA format. So you have to study the guidelines of your university or the research paper where you are going to publish. They have mentioned that table will be made at what format, and you can do all this formatting in the SPSS. That you can give a command in SPSS, so all the table which will be generated by the software will be according to that format which will be recommended by your university or your journal. So you can proceed further, and here you can see that I have discussed about test for Leibniz, and you can discuss about Leibniz or you can discuss about post hoc, even a test for homogeneity, that it was found. See, my cutoff point was this one, so I have discussed about more than or less than 0.03, and you can see that post hoc table I have written that not included in the thesis because it is not necessary to add every table. Just write that the test for Leibniz or test for homogeneity, the p-value was found to be this much, it means so and so. So directly I have written that table not included. And because post hoc table was having too long or so many data was there under that table, so I have not added the table. Directly I have written the result, that what was the thing. And directly last table I have added, which is the most important table, which contains the data of between, data of within, data of total, the degree of freedom, sum of squared, mean squared, value of f, and significant. So this f is the important value, and you can see the writing style of ANOVA is this one. And this is the thing which you are going to add in your research paper. This line will be taken for research point of view whenever you are writing a research paper, that comparison of fasting blood sugar was conducted with three different category of BMI. The result was found significant, and you're going to write this F capital, degree of freedom in italic. 3 is the this 3 degree of freedom of between. 1913 is the degree of freedom of total. This you are going to write, and 152.90 is the value of F. And in the last you are going to write the p value which you have got. This p value I have written here. So, and you can code the table that as shown in table so and so. See, a multiple comparison table, yeah, I have also added. See, you can see this is the post hoc table, and to the values which was found significant, you can see that all those value were found significant except this value. So what I have written, that most of the value were found significant except this group, normal and underweight. Might be somewhere I have written uh, yeah, multiple comparison of patient fasting blood sugar at admission and different BMI category performed by post hoc test. Okay, then I have written this. No, I have not discussed. If you want, you can write, and you can see that this is the table graph which will be generated by the software. SPSS will make a this graph if you choose a option called plot there. So it has taken all the value, and what it's showing that mean of fasting blood sugar of the patient at admission as increases, the BMI of the patient is also increasing. So these are the four different category of BMI which we have taken, that underweight, normal, overweight and obese, and these are the fasting blood sugar. So as the fasting blood sugar is increasing, the value of BMI is also increasing. And always remember to write the significance level of the test at the bottom, that at what level you have considered test as significant. For my PhD, I have taken 97% as a confidence interval, so my cutoff point was 0.03 for both. Whenever I am looking for either for test for Leibniz, test for homogeneity, test for normality distribution, or ANOVA independent one sample, whatever. Clear? So this is the way that how we are going to write. And I want to show that either if software is working, then I can apply once so that you can have a look to the software. Otherwise, we'll end the session. See, there is a difference in the style of how the software is look in Mac version or in Windows version. In Windows version, you are going to get everything at the bottom line, not on the top line as I'm getting SPSS statistics or file edit view data on the top line. You are going to get inside the software somewhere here where I have having a mouse, like we have seen in the presentation. Let me force quit and we can open. We'll see if it opens on time. We'll apply one. Open. Yes. Yeah. Whenever you open the software, it will remind you that how many days remaining and which data set you want to open if you have opened any file earlier. So I will go for this one. Open. Okay. And go to analyze. Compare mean one way ANOVA. Okay. We'll move. Okay. Fasting blood sugar and occupation of the patient. We have more categories, I know. We'll go to 2K, option, homogeneity, descriptive, mean plot. Continue and okay. See, this is the where we have got the result. Here you can see. See, now fasting blood sugar data we have received of the patient at admission, and these are the category of the occupation status, that who were patient working as a government employer, daily laborer, own business, private sector, unemployed, farmer, and other. This is the different employment status I have taken during my PhD, and you can see that how many patient was there under which category. That others were 46, farmers were 188, unemployed were 08, and mean was found to be this much. We have got the standard deviation, and here you can see test for homogeneity is showing p-value less than 0.05. It means we are not eligible for the test. Still our test was found significant. So what people used to do, they used to hide this, and they will show their result. They see they are not eligible right now. I'm not eligible for ANOVA because I didn't get the homogeneity of variance test significant. This should be more than 0.05. And here, if we'll talk about our ANOVA, obviously I have got a significant result the p-value is less than 0.05, and this will be called multiple comparison table. Mean compared with other, that government employees compared with daily laborer, own business, private sector, unemployed, farmer, and other. And the mean difference value we can quote, and wherever we have I have a star, might be you're able to see that in the mean difference I have a star, and wherever I have star, that particular variable was found significant. And wherever, see here in these two values, if I'll click on the table, you can see these two values are more than 0.05, and we didn't get any star here, but we have a star at the all the values. So star value will be considered as significant. Star value will be considered as significant. So we can go back. Just a minute. We have to see what has happened. And you can see after the multiple comparison, we have a plot like this. Like this plot, we are going to get that mean of fasting blood sugar as the employment status. Okay, it's increasing, then it's okay, whatever is the key, the lowest value was found under the government employer and somehow unemployed person who are working in private sector like me, or doing their own business, or those who are daily labor. They are more prone to diabetes as compared to other categories. This you can conclude based upon the occupation. So at least more than two category are required to run the ANOVA. And you can see it was run at alpha level 0.05. So this is the way I think everyone has learned that how to run the ANOVA and how we are going to fill the data. Data you can fill directly in terms of numeric value, both the variable independent and dependent. But independent variable you have to convert in terms of category if it is available in terms of numeric. If it's already given in terms of category, then no need. For example, I have made a category of BMI, and more than 4 category are there. And if we talk about any other variable, for example, family history of the patient, so family history of the patient is having 4 category, that yes, no, only hypertension, only diabetes. So I can apply the ANOVA with this also. But see, marital status, I have a married, unmarried, widow, and divorced. So if we want to compare fasting blood sugar with marital status, we can do. We cannot do with the category having less than 2. So wherever we are finding category more than 2, obviously we can compare by applying ANOVA. What we have to do, we have to check the normality. For example, I want to compare with this fasting blood sugar during admission, so I should look for the explore command of fasting blood sugar on admission. I should go for plot, histogram, normality plot. I'll look for the normality, that either it is normally distributed or not. So I can found that yes, my Shiprovic value is 0.7, more than 0.05. And yes, see how nicely a bell-shaped curve I am getting. So I can go for the ANOVA, and I'm eligible for the ANOVA if I want to compare fasting blood sugar during admission with any variable in my study, which is categorical. So see how nicely I'm getting a straight line, and all the data point are closer, no division at the end. And see, whenever you will apply the SPSS, it will let you know that which case is causing a problem to you. You're going to get a box plot like this, and it is giving some sort of number on the top. For example, here you can get 1354, and here you can see that 902. So case number 902 and case number 1354 is having a fasting blood sugar for 902. It is lower than mean. Okay, whatever the mean level of fasting blood sugar is there in my study. So these are the case number which is having a very lower values, and these are the cases in my study. For example, case number 537 having a fasting blood sugar value higher. So by mistake, if you have written instead of 117, you have written 1127. For example, one extra you have added while writing or while typing in your sheet. So software is going to indicate you that where you have entered a wrong data. So by seeing these outliers, these will be called outliers. You can identify that where you did the mistake. We will see one example for 537 and 902, and we'll see that how much is the mean level. We'll remember 537 and 902, and we'll see our mean is 272. Mean is 272, and we'll look for the case number 537 and 902 in the sheet. That what is the difference. So if I'll open the sheet, I think it's closed. So you can identify to that exact case number. Yeah, it's open. I think it's somewhere here. Yes. So if I'll go to 537 number case, case number 537. This is the row, and which one is the fasting blood sugar on admission? Fasting blood sugar on admission 537. Yes, this is the value. See, you can see that remaining value are somewhere around 263, 283, 278, 20, near about 260 to 270. But this patient is having a value higher, 308. That means more than higher value. So for example, if you have written by mistake like this, instead of 308 you have written 3008. So your software is going to let you know that somewhere you did the mistake. So unusual case, which will be very unusual, the software is going to let you know. One was 907, I think. So we'll look for 907 also. That why it was outlier 907. It was not 907. I think it was something else. It is showing 267 or 906 might be. So any unusual value you have in your sheet, that is displayed by the software, and that you can find with that particular uh, top or bottom outliers. Whenever you are going to apply test for the normality distribution, the software is going to make a sheet for you. So this is end for today's class, and if any person is having a query, they can ask, or I'll just finish the session. I'll just take any queries there. In general, once a table is added to Word, how can we can change to APA style? See, you don't have to do the modification in MS Word. You can if you want, but I will recommend you to modify your table in SPSS. In SPSS, once only you change the command and you uh, fix the look of your table. That I will let you know in the further classes. Just remind me, because that is not there in the syllabus. Might be I will forget. Just remind me that how to set the look for tables and graphs. So whatever the table will be generated by the software, that will be in that look what you want. For example, if you want to table in APA, you will get in APA. You want to get table in academic style, you'll get in academic. If you want in MLA, you'll get in MLA. You have a option in SPSS. For example, if you open the software, you can change into by going to a option called looks. And if you want to make unique style, for example, your university is recommending a style which is not there in SPSS, still also you can adjust, you can make, and you can save, so that all the table which will be made by software, that will be according to your style which you want. Not only the table, for the graph also. What you can do, you can go to the option, go to SPSS statistics, and see, I was using a previous version, so that was there under the screen called option file. Yes, we have a option, and under the option you can go for pivot tables. Yeah, pivot tables are there, and you can see that analytic platform, then academic style, this is a APA, then robot report, sorry, shades of gray, alternative APA times Roman. This we used to recommend that all the data you require in APA, and all the font size will be 12 times Roman. Like this, you can refer. Yeah, for APA in sans serif. So like this, you can choose from here, and after that, if you want to edit, you can edit. For example, you can click like this. So any table made by the software will be on that particular style. So by going into a option and pivot tables, from here you can do, or you can set your own. For example, you require this top line very dark color and bottom line very dark color, remaining lines will be dotted like this. You can do from here only. And for the charts, you can make the ratio, that what will be the size of the chart, because all the journals used to give a guidelines that figure provided by you should have a this much of resolution and size should be this much. So all these things you can set by going into a ratio, and once you will make the graph, there also you can set all the resolution and all. So what will be the font style that you can do default, the Times Roman I need all the styles, and you can click OK, it will be done. So if I'll do apply, then it will be applicable, otherwise it will be not. So multiple things you can add, you can do the adjustment while going into a option. So this is end for today's class, I think, and remaining will take in further classes. So take care. The recording will be sent to you once I'll receive it.